Hello and welcome to the all new ThyGap podcast. This is your host, Being Brute, and with me,
Is Bogus Noog.
Bogus, we have covered a very interesting topic.
Have we?
Yes.
Or are we going to?
No, we have covered previously. Okay. And it's not easy.
It is not easy. I mean,
It's a ThyGap foundational principle.
yeah.
We get up in the morning, say it's not easy 10 times and start our day. That's how we roll. But today I want to talk about it's not easy to listen to yourself. You know, always when we are, I personally experienced this from a very early age, that there is a counter argument going on in your head.
Right.
You know, for every action you take, anything that you observe and you're trying to make sense of it, or any new experience, etc., etc. There's an argument or there's a conversation going in your head. I wouldn't say argument, but there's a voice going through
Your inner voice.
Yeah, your inner voice, your soul. You can make it as
Conscience.
philosophical as possible. I just say it's a voice.
Right.
I don't know where it is. I don't even know if it is inside or outside, but I hear it inside. That doesn't mean it is inside. It can be anywhere. So the beauty about that voice is it is first and foremost, it is absolutely bland. It has no tone.
No inflection.
No inflection. It doesn't speak under influence. I don't even know if it is mine,
True.
to a point that I can say.
But the nature of delivery seems like take it or leave it.
It is,
Right?
it's just like on
That's it.
your face. And the reason why I picked this particular topic, it's not easy to listen to yourself. And here, when I say yourself, that's the voice that comes
Your
in
inner
your head.
voice, yeah.
The voice that comes in your head is you're not used to listening to something like that. You have to train yourself to listen to something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Why do you have to train yourself?
Because in our daily conversations, we are institutionalized. We have a muscle memory to have like an action-reaction kind of interaction.
No, my question is when you say you have to train yourself, what you're already implying there is it is not coming easily. You have to
It's
put
not
some
easy.
effort.
Yeah, you have to. And I'm telling
What
you
is it
why
that
that effort has to be put in. The little background that I want to give is since the babies, we are predominantly mimicking, right? We mimic noises, we mimic behaviors, elders, like our surroundings, etc. And we tune ourselves, and it's organic, right? So you can't really do much about it. Is we tune ourselves to responding or proacting. You either respond to something, somebody calls you or somebody touches you or taps on you and all, you respond to that.
Right.
So we are always waiting for that trigger.
Okay.
For a response. That's how we start a conversation. And we try to make a sense. We anticipate,
Okay.
all this. Now imagine you're having a conversation where anticipation doesn't work. It's not norm. You say hi. Your anticipation is I say hi back to you.
Right.
But you say hi and I say get lost.
Right.
It surprises you, right?
Yeah.
Now there's a third scenario. You say hi and you have zero idea what I'm going to say. You don't know me. And you basically it's like speaking to a stranger, right?
Are you saying I have zero idea or zero expectation of what you're going to say?
Zero anticipation.
Okay.
You just can't anticipate what comes. Because there are so many elements that you trigger off, right? You see a person, you see their expression, their body language, and you're like, maybe this guy is a chilled out guy.
Right.
Right? Then there's a very pretty lady, and you as a guy want to go just say hi. A very simple hi. But because of how she looks and all the look, you kind of put her at a pedestal.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, she's not going to respond to me. But you know what, I'll go try. But imagine you're talking to the skies. Imagine you're talking to the universe. You don't know what to expect. You can't comprehend the anticipation. Right? And that is why it is very difficult to listen to that voice. Because you just don't know what it is saying. You just don't know why it is saying. But once you hear it, you know for a fact that it's telling something so true and honest that it makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which is why I say you have to train yourself
Right.
to start having a conversation with that. Because when somebody is throwing statements at you, how will you make a conversation? And especially when the statements are so true and honest and transparent in nature, how will you make a conversation? How will you get more out of it? According to me, that's pure gold for me. Okay. Because whatever it is saying, it's under no influence, it is under no prejudice. It is pure and raw in its own self. It's just like you take this, do whatever you want to do with it, but this is what it is.
Right.
And which is why I say it's not easy to listen to yourself, because it is very critical in nature. It is independent of your mental state. It is independent of your comforts or of your surroundings and all. It is just purely what is right for you. I mean, it is given multiple other names like intuition, instinct, etc., etc. But it is a honed skill. It's not something that you can just, I've got a brainwave and I'm going to do something about it. But it's a honed skill.
So if I can challenge that statement that you just made, there's only one scenario.
Then that's the end of this episode. There's no more going forward.
There's only one scenario where I see that playing differently, which is I've heard reports of, for example, clinically depressed people whose inner voice is what actually torments them through the day. And by their reports or by their account, it sort of tells them constantly, you're worthless. You're a piece of shit. You need to end this. Kill yourself. This kind of stuff.
And I don't think that is inner voice.
You don't?
I don't. That is, we have the ability to manifest things.
Okay.
Right? It's like that whole theory, I mean, to give you a parallel, is the whole theory of, there's a ghost in this person. There's a spirit that entered a person, right? I don't know how much of reality there is to it, but we do have split personality, for example.
Right.
Do you call that an inner voice?
I don't think so, no.
The inner voice is not giving you directions, which is why I clarify. It's a statement. It's a statement, not giving you directional sense. It is just knowledge. It's very binary in nature. I mean, you can decode it multiple ways, but it's very difficult to explain. Like I said, it is just a realistic sense of your surrounding or what is good for you.
Okay.
It's not demeaning in nature. It's not promoting you or whatever. There is no positive or negative, And I've heard of the same cases where depressed people are like, the voice torments me. It doesn't torment you, If you're depressed, it stops talking. It comes in ways where, from whatever I've heard, it only comes when it knows you can handle it. It doesn't come when you can't as a person.
I'm noticing some differences in the kind of voice, for example. So there is one voice which is closer to intuition, which is the gut feel that says, go speak to that person or do this, or, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
The other kind of voice is the voice that second guesses your decisions.
Yeah.
Maybe this is not the right thing or something like that.
Yeah.
The other voice is this kind of voice, which is extra critical that these people seem to report.
Right.
So now I guess I'm wondering, are these really that different, or are they coming from the same place, or,
It's an interesting question. I can't really answer that because I have not experienced the other two kinds. The kind that I have experienced, that I keep experiencing, is primarily telling you about. It's just telling you. It's not with it's not even a language, if you ask me. It doesn't even, I kind of translate into a language.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? But it is almost like a signal.
Yeah.
So then it depends on how good a receptor you are, if that's the theory.
Right.
Right? If for all it cares, if the inner voice is just a signal that's coming to you and you are kind of translating it into a language-based conversation or comprehending it through a language, then it becomes of how good a receptor you are.
Right.
It might become a Chinese whisper. We don't know. I don't know. It can be meaning something and you can be comprehending something. You might be interpreting something.
For someone who has gone through their life for a while, ignoring or suppressing that inner voice. Yeah. If they suddenly want to start learning how to train themselves to start listening to that, what do you think they might have to do, or what do you think they might have to try?
Purely just accept it.
No, if they've suppressed it to a point where they don't hear it anymore.
See, like I said, there are multiple ways and I'm no expert in that. I can only share my experiences of how difficult it was to wrap my head around that and actually start having conversations with, you know. And these conversations have been beneficial to me. Not once have they put me in trouble. You know, it was hard. I'm not saying that, I didn't lose out. It's beneficial for me in the sense that I grew as a person.
Can you talk about that hard part? Because I think that is what most people
It's hard
face.
because that's exactly what, to go a little technical, your ego doesn't allow you to do it. It's like choosing the hard path, the path less traveled.
Yeah.
Right? So the inner voice always tells you what's the right thing. And most often than not, you already kind of know it, but you don't choose it.
I mean, you kind of know it because of the inner voice, right?
No, I mean, like, you slap someone, you don't slap someone.
Right.
What is the right thing to do? You know that, right? The moral compass is pre-existing. It's predefined in us. It just kind of, we're going into too many things, but I'm just giving an example. You know what's the right thing instinctively. I think everybody does that. We just don't choose the right path. Like, working hard is the right way to do things. Everybody knows that. But our ego is like, we have to figure out how to speed up this thing. So it's okay to go steal something. It's for your own good. It kind of condoles you in your wrong acts, right? But when the inner voice kicks in and you question it, say if you are in a position to question that particular narrative, it gives you a very sound logic that you are convinced. And that's why it's hard, because we don't get convinced easily by ourselves. We always seek for validation, right?
Yeah.
When have you truly believed yourself? It's never. It's almost never.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel that you have to be honest, but you seek for validation. Is being honest a good thing? 10 people say yes. That is when we try to implicate that or imply that in our lives. So, but the way the inner voice functions is it already has told you all this before. We just never bother to listen to it. So imagine you figured out how to have those conversations, not relying or being dependent on an external source. That's a huge plus. That's a huge win for me, right? As an individual, I'm not being influenced by people's opinions. All those things don't matter instantly. All the social baggage that you get, all those, hard eyes that are on you, all those don't matter anymore. And you kind of have a very peaceful approach to your day-to-day stuff.
Right.
And you become much more consolidated. You become much more, you're more together.
Right.
And those are like the perks of listening to your inner voice. But because it constantly asks you to do something which you're not used to, or it directs you, it doesn't even ask you to do, it points you to the direction in which it's right, and you just lack conviction towards it. It gives you that conviction.
Right.
And after a point, why it's not easy is you start being scared of the truth.
Yeah.
And after some time, you know what is right. Like you've been experienced. So now you don't want to listen to it anymore because you're scared that, okay, I know what it's going to say, so I'm not going to go there.
Right.
Which is why it's very difficult. It's not easy to keep listening to yourself.
But there seem to be like multiple layers or levels of difficulty or hardness
Absolutely.
to this, right? Because on one level, there could be someone who is not used to, don't even listen or hear an inner voice, because muscle memory, that has never been the case. So that's one level. The other level is people who just hear this one-sided statements, and that's where it stops.
Yeah.
You just hear it one side. And then another level is where you're now having conversations.
Yeah.
It's not just a one-sided statement. You can go back and continue that sort of train of thought.
Yeah.
So, it's not just like one thing that seems to be hard over here. There seem to be like multiple levels.
There are multiple levels of it. There are multiple perks of it. And sometimes you are always, you are in that spot, you're at that crossroads where it's very tempting, not to listen to the voice.
Yeah.
Because everything else looks so easy.
Right.
And
it could also be that what the voice is telling you is going against the conventional norm.
Absolutely.
That's what
because
happens,
we are
right?
social beings. We are, how do I say this? We are slaves of stereotypes. We love conventions. We love stereotypes. And whenever when we had to go slightly away from them or slightly beside them.
Now you're inviting friction.
Yeah. And we don't like that. Our egos don't like that.
Yeah.
We like to be accepted. We don't like to be questioned. And everything worth doing or everything right is always questioned.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult. It is stressful. It's painful. But once you get beyond a certain point, then it's just like any other exercise, right?
Right.
You do it enough, you get used to it.
Yeah.
So, and once you get used to it, it's a lot better place to be.
Man, listening to yourself, it is not easy.
It's not easy.